I started out this video with the update on the All Red Albinos, which are what I have left of the two pair I had imported from Indonesia about a year and a half ago. I had really beautiful fish out of the guy, but really just had fertility issues. And I got down to, actually got down to just one female about 3 months ago, and I had fed her deworming flakes, put her in a one of the 1 gallon containers like this, and then lo and behold, she had about, I guess it's about 15 babies in here. I had showed these fish a couple of times on videos before, the last one being about 2 weeks ago, with the one on trying to sex baby guppies as soon as you can. You can see, you really can't compare it to the video I did, but you can see that now the males are starting to fully develop. You got one there that has a lot of color, and as normally would be with these fish, once I mention this one, they all get in front of them. So that one you can see has a lot of color going forward. The only thing I have to, I think, be careful with on these is to see how much red coloration, or really, to be honest with you, it's probably orange coloration, goes all the way into the tail. Because problems I've seen in the past with All Red Albinos are, besides fertility issues, is that the tail color has some clear spots. So I'm going to try to find ones that fill in completely. Obviously, I'd also like to select the breeders that have the most color going forward, close to the eye, which this one looks like it's going to have a good dorsal. It's starting to develop right. I just see some clear spots in the tail that I'm going to have to see how that goes. But it's really, to be honest with you, it's too late for the next batch because they're in with the females, because this is all I have out of that line. And so these females have already been hit by these males in the tank. So it'll be the next generation that I end up doing that with culling. At this point, I just am trying to get as many young ones out of them as I can. As you can see, they're eating some live sea monkeys, and they seem pretty happy about it. There's a few females down here. And as you can kind of see, the males have the coloration in the tail, the upper part of the back of the body, the dorsal, and some of the front of the body. And the gonopodium is starting to form. Or actually, it's probably already formed. And it's not an easy word to say. I'm a little surprised I got it right the first time. And by that I mean form. Yeah, it's a bad joke. So you can see that the females also have color in the dorsal, the tail, and the top of the body in the back of the body. Which there's probably a much simpler word for that, which escapes me at this point. So the long story short is, when I try to sex these in the future, when I'm going to separate males before, right before they start to form the gonopodium, because then you don't have to worry about anything hitting the females. You just put the ones together you want to put together. So this is my first time growing these out, so I can see how they start to develop. So the next time, like if we go back in time, if I could, 2 weeks prior, I would have separated the ones that showed the most color without the gonopodium forming. Sometimes you're right on that, sometimes wrong. Worst case scenario is you just have to keep checking the tank and separate the female before the males develop. But anyway, these are doing nicely. I never really did count them. I think there's around 15. So there's a couple of males that are developing color a little bit sooner. Like this one seems to be the most colored up actually of the whole bunch, which is odd because obviously they were all born the same day from the same female, hit by the same male. But this is probably going to be the best male of the bunch because that color is already all the way up the body, close to the eye. So the goal from here on is to keep them all alive and keep them growing. So I give them live baby brine shrimp once a day, and I give them one feeding of my high protein food, which is a dry granule sized food, which is good for fry and for really for all fish. And then another feeding, if I give it to the fish, a third feeding will be either adult frozen brine shrimp or the flake foods that I mix up. And I mix like about 5 different flake foods. I did a video on that. You can kind of go back and check on the other videos and see that there was some good information in that. Sometimes I have to remind myself of what I do because I only mix the flake food into the big bucket about once a month. So sometimes I forget what I'm doing. Yeah, which isn't really too much of a shock. And also some new, these are All Red Albinos that I got from a friend of mine, Tony Anderson. If you're on Aquabid looking for fish, and if he has any online available, he's under Doggy Dad out of Ohio. And I'd highly recommend his fish. He's a very good breeder, knows what he's doing, he's great with genetics, and he has great fish. So these are All Red Albinos he sent me because he, had found, saw that I was struggling trying to get my All Red Albino line going. So these have colored up a little bit more than mine have. I shouldn't say mine have because now these are mine. But these are nice. I like them a lot, and we'll see how things go with this. So I have 2 shots to resurrect the All Red Albino line. These are already, they've already shot out a few babies, which was really a surprise because they're very small fish. So you can see that these don't have, the females don't have as much color in them as the ones I have from the Indonesian guy. And I think it's a little bit of a different shade of color, but I could be wrong. But these have real nice coverage of the color already, and I'm going to say that they're going to end up with better dorsals. I think the ones that I have from the Indonesian guy are going to be like a thumb type dorsal, and these will be more of an IFGA type parallelogram dorsal. And by thumb type dorsal, let me see if I can get one of these guys on here. You can see that dorsal is kind of growing up more than it's growing lengthwise. And once again, there was probably an easier way to say that with less words, but I didn't do it. Alright, I'll try to update it with some other stuff, and appreciate you watching. Alright, we got the fish room butler. He's pretty happy. I got him a light up necklace. And he's trying to attract some hot babes. He is available. And let's see if we can get him to say anything. Wow, that was pretty good. As I see, geez, you already got a girlfriend. What the heck's going on there, buddy? You move really fast. I don't know what the gestation period is, but I'm pretty sure she's already popped out a kid. Well, this is getting scary. So now we got a fish room butler family. Alright, if you got through the fish room butler nonsense, this will be the end of the video. I mentioned a friend of mine, Tony Anderson, who's really good with genetics, and he mentioned to me if I want to try to get the Russian red lace snakeskin metalheads back, I should cross one of the red grass metalheads that I had gotten out of another cross. Which is this guy, with some Russian red lace snakeskin females. Now I just fed these fish, so they're pretty fat. Trying to get it so you don't see the reflection of my fingers, but that's not really easy. Anyway, so these females may already be hit. There is a baby zipping around. He was in the plants, apparently. that I put in from the Russian red lace snakeskin tank. So just gonna leave him or her in there. If he ends up being a he, I'll pull him out. If it ends up being a female, then it'll be a virgin female, and that'll be perfect for this this experiment. So it's going to take a few months to see what we end up getting, because at this point we just have a red grass metalhead male in with a couple of Russian red lace snakeskin females. There's the other one. I picked really young females in the hopes that they weren't hit yet, but we'll see. I don't know, but this is a beautiful male. At the very worst, I'll get hopefully some more of these, because I only got 2 of the red grass metalheads out of an entire batch of I guess they were metalheads, red and bluegrass. These are them. They're doing very well. I have a few that have long fin, the female like that one. The males, that one's messed up. You gotta get rid of him. The males look good. I really like them as blue, but you know, I really would like to get something with the red going. So anyway, that's what's going on. This is another one that's got red and blue. So that's the next experiment, and we'll see what ends up happening. So thanks for hanging in. And if you really don't like the fish room butler nonsense or any of that stuff, and just want fish talk, then just let me know and I'll cut it out. All right, see ya.